Hi, welcome to the video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about some Amazon FBA tips, my top 5, and how much money I made in the last year, April to April, via Amazon FBA. But before we get into that, a little bit of a backstory as to how I got here. You'll just have to excuse the noise at the back. They appear to be doing some kind of tree surgery and like shredding it down in one of those wood chippers, you know, the ones you see in like horror films with the bodies go. Anyway, I've been selling on Amazon since 2020, starting off with arbitrage, buying and selling toys. I was hooked immediately. It became like a real life game. Every time I learned something new or got ungated in a certain category, it was like completing the next level. The thing with Amazon, you can't just sell in every category in the beginning. You need to unlock certain criteria so you can sell stuff. Things like toys, they're quite protective over who can sell toys, so you need to gain a bit of proof, build good seller history with Amazon, and get some like receipts and invoices from wholesalers just to prove that you are able to do it without just scamming them. But eventually I wanted something more long term than chasing down arbitrage deals, because they're quite fleeting. You can get some good deals every now and then and you can flip them for some good money, but it is sustainable, but it's quite hard work. So I started making my own candles. That was the idea I came up with. So number 1, optimize your listings. You need relevant keywords in the title. Be specific. For example, if you have an autumn themed candle, don't just call it autumn themed candle or this is autumn or something like that. Be really descriptive. Think about the keywords, think about what people would be searching for. So in my case, I could have a candle and I might call it autumn inspired candle, scented with pumpkin spice and nutmeg, handmade soy candle by Suffolk Candles. So that's very descriptive. There's a lot of things that the search engine can pick up on there. So you want to, like I said, have a think about what people might be typing in and how it will convey in the search engines. Check out your competition as well, see what they're doing, see what keywords they've got in the titles, what keywords they've got in the descriptions, and use that for inspiration. Don't steal what they're doing, but use what they're doing as a bit of inspiration and a bit of a guideline, and see what works. And then you can also type in the keywords that you want to rank for. So if you've got a rhubarb candle or a strawberry scented candle, just type in that into Amazon and then see what comes up first. And then see what keywords they're using in their title, and then pilfer a few of them. Learn by doing it and seeing what works and what sticks. So the first step, optimize your listings, get your keywords in place, be descriptive, learn a bit of sales copy as well. Number 2, photos. Crap photos are crap, basically. If your photo's rubbish, it's not going to sell anything. Either get decent at photography, learn a few skills, buy a little light box, those kind of things, watch a few YouTube videos, maybe buy a course, or pay someone to do professional photography for you. The photos make a massive difference in terms of sales, especially when you're scrolling through listings. It's all visual, so people buy with their eyes first, don't they? So you need to make sure your photos are excellent. Nice, sharp, clear images, white backgrounds for the main ones. And try and get as many photos as possible, lots of different variations, sort of lifestyle photos, nice backgrounds, things like that. Be quite descriptive in your photos as well. You can add sort of infographics down the side of it. I think you can add maybe sort of 8 to 10 photos, so try and maximize the amount of photos you can have on Amazon. The more information people have as a buyer, the more likely they are to buy something, and then they can weigh out the pros and cons. So as many photos as possible, as many good photos as possible, be as descriptive as possible in the photos, infographics, that kind of stuff. You can have bullet points, all sorts. Have a look at your competition again, and just see what they're doing. Don't steal it, but use it as inspiration and copy a few bits. Obviously a lot of these things work for a reason, so try and piece it all together. But yeah, number 2, optimize your photos, make sure they are banging. Number 3, pricing and value. What are you selling? Is it going to help someone? Is it going to provide value? Is it going to provide joy or a smile? Those are sort of the things you need to look for. Don't just sell something because it's going to make you a load of money or it's got a good profit margin. How is it going to enhance someone's life? That's kind of the key, providing value. You want to price it competitively, but don't mug yourself off. There's no point making something trying to go for the cheapest possible price so you think you sell more. It doesn't necessarily work like that. By going super cheap, you might not necessarily attract more sales. As long as the product is good, its perceived value will be accepted. So if you've got a handmade product with non-toxic ingredients, essential oils, it looks really cool, those kind of things, the perceived value of it is going to be quite high. So people don't mind paying decent money for something if it's good and it provides value. It makes someone smile. It's got anti-anxiety properties, that kind of thing. So think about what the value is, what it's going to be. Don't just sell something for the sake of selling it to make money. It needs to have a purpose. So perceived value will probably make you more money than trying to sell something cheap. People don't mind paying for quality. I think that's what I've learned. In the beginning, I started off trying to sell my candles quite cheap, just to try and get a bit of traction, gain a few reviews, which I think worked. But eventually I started to increase the prices more because my product became better and I thought the value of it was really good. I think eventually the cheaper Alibaba style sort of private label, white label products will be phased out. They have kind of spammed Amazon over the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even longer. And I think people know they're rubbish, and you can see the listings and how the photos are sort of manipulated on Photoshop. They just look a bit crap. And the value you get from it is cheap. The things don't last, and people are starting to see that. Even things like candles, you can buy a lot of wholesale candles from China, and they're just not as good as the ones you can make or buy locally. So I think those kind of things will phase out. So what I'm trying to get at the point is, don't try and compete with cheaper Chinese knockoffs, because you're never going to be able to do that. Their sort of underlying costs are way cheaper than yours. So whatever you think your perceived value is, do a little bit of competition, a little bit of research, and work out where you can fit in. Smaller, handmade, thoughtful items that provide people with joy will have more longevity than cheap Chinese crap. Number 4, advertising. Unfortunately, we have to spend money to make money, as the saying goes. There's no point having an amazing product if no one can find it. Eventually with Amazon, you're going to have to dip your toes into Amazon advertising. It's a little bit expensive and it's got a little bit of a learning curve, but it is necessary. There's so many products in there. You need advertising, you need to stand out a bit, you need to gain a bit of traction. What I recommend is starting off with an automatic campaign, set the bids quite cheap and the bids down only. What you want to do is gain some data. After a month or so, you'll get lots of data, lots of keywords, and then you can do a bit of negative keyword targeting. So for instance, if my candle shows up on, let's say, some makeup or like, I don't know, a pillowcase or something, like someone else's listings, we can go through that and we can make sure it doesn't show up on that again. We want to make sure our products show up on relevant pages and relevant keywords. So it just takes a bit of time. You need to get the data and you need to sort of narrow it down. That way you can lower the cost of your advertising, because sometimes you'll just be wasting money on people clicking on stuff because they're interested in having a little look, but they might not necessarily be in the market for what you're selling at that time. So you will spend a little bit of money with Amazon advertising in the beginning, just for like maybe the first 30 days, but the more you can narrow it down, the less you spend eventually, if that makes any sense. But you just need to spend a bit of money in the beginning, gain a lot of data, go through the data, and then do some negative keywording, negative keyword targeting, and then kind of reduce your spend that way. You can also lower the bids and just play around with it. It just takes a bit of time, but you just need to gain the data first. I think at some point I'll try and make a video on Amazon advertising. I'm not great at it, but I've sort of figured out what works for me. As I said, I normally do an automatic campaign, see what shows up on different listings. So for instance, my candle will show up on lots of different candles and other things like that. And then I can work out if I'm spending too much money on certain search terms and things. So for instance, I could spend £5, get loads of clicks, but no conversions. So I'll probably put that into negative keyword targeting. And my 5th and final tip, reviews. You're going to need some social proof. Just one 5-star review will make all the difference compared to like a blank page. People just need a bit of reassurance before they buy something. Just think about it. When you look at something and you buy it, you always check the reviews, and you're lying if you don't. You like to see what other people have said and what other people think about it before you decide to spend your hard-earned money. In the beginning, you will need to get reviews. You can use the Amazon Vine program where people can sort of buy stuff for free, and in return they'll leave you an honest review. I've not done this, so I don't know exactly how it works, but you'll probably end up rinsing through sort of 30, 40, 50 of your products for free to get the reviews. You can get reviews by getting maybe friends and family to buy something and leaving an honest review. However, I think this might be against the terms of service, but I have done it a little bit and it has worked for me. Just the odd review here and there, just getting friends and family to buy something and giving an honest review. I think as long as you don't ask people to give you a positive review, that is where you're breaking the terms of service. If you're trying to encourage positivity, that is very frowned upon. But if you just ask for a review, that's fine. But if you provide a great product, great customer service, and stand out, you'll definitely be able to start getting nice reviews. But with everything, it will just take time. I've been selling my candles now for 2 years on Amazon, and I've got 150 reviews. So it all just takes a little bit of time, just slowly getting better. So those are my top 5 tips for Amazon FBA, how to improve your listings and how to sort of increase your sales. And now we'll go have a look at how much money I made April to April, 22 to 23. Right then guys, this is how much money I made on Amazon 2022 to 2023. So the headline figure here, we've got £37,000 getting on towards £38,000. That's the gross. So when people are selling Amazon courses and things like that, that's the figure they're going to hit you with. So if I told someone I made £38,000 on Amazon, they're going to be, bloody hell, that is like a full-time wage there. But it's not that simple. And that is 2,302 orders, 2,432 units with 39 refunds. Advertising cost, just over £2,000. And the gross profit, net profit, well, the net profit is the one we're looking for, which is £12,500. So that's the money we've taken home after we've paid for everything. So we pay for the advertising, we pay for the cost of goods, various other fees. So that's the take-home figure. That's the main thing we're looking for. Like I said, when people try and flog your course or tell you how much money they've made in gross, they're going to hit you with that figure at the top, the £38,000. They're not going to hit you with the net, the amount of actual profit they've made. So let's have a little look at the rest of it. So with well, what I'm using here is Sellerboard. Really, really good tool. Tracks all of your data. But you can see, yeah, the breakdown, the advertising, where the money's gone, sponsored products, sponsored brands, units. So we can see how much we've sold on the same day via Amazon pay-per-click and organic listings. So I think we're ranking quite well on Amazon for quite a few listings. So if you type in rhubarb candle, things like that, we'll turn up. A gin and tonic candle. We're sort of number 1, number 2 for quite a few things. So that's really good because that brings us organic traffic, things we don't have to pay for. And then, yeah, refund costs. Never really like saying that, but it's unavoidable with how Amazon works. You can literally get a refund for more or less anything. But as we scroll down, there's, like I said, lots of information here. 1.6% refunds, but the real thing we're looking for is margin. Oh, click too many things. Go back. Margin. Margin is what we're looking at, and that is the profitability of your business. So if your margin's rubbish, then your business is rubbish. So 33% margin is really, really good. I think with Amazon sort of FBA arbitrage, you're looking at between 20% minimum really to be making any money. But because the nature of my products are handmade, the ROI, return on investment, is really good. So that's 95.36%. So that is excellent. So I can make a lot more money than maybe people, well, I can be a lot more profitable than perhaps people doing arbitrage because I'm making it, I'm saving a lot of costs. But the costs come at a cost of my time. So there's pros and cons to all of it. I have been looking at some white label products, some candles that I can buy to label myself to save a bit of time, because my time is sort of the bottleneck. But for the first couple of years, this is creating a good cash flow business for me to reinvest into it and to use for other, and to use for other projects. But like I said, margin is the main thing we're looking for. So that is pretty good, pretty happy with that. And we're up on last year. I can't quite remember what it is. Bear with me, maybe I'll find out. So this is the previous year, 2021 to 2022. So you can see we've pretty much had about the same amount of sales, give or take a couple £100. About the same amount of refunds. I think we had 40 in the last one. Advertising has gone up by about £500 in the following year. But the main difference is the gross profit. So that is £7,000 in the previous year, and we got up to £12,000 in the year just gone. So that's an increase of £5,000, which just means we've become a little bit more savvy, we've become a bit more profitable. And I think well, this was a mixture of Amazon arbitrage and me making candles, and then I think I fully committed to making candles just because the ROI was better and I wanted to create a long-term sustainable brand. But if we look down here, we can see the margin is 18% in 2021, and then in 2023 to in 2023 and 2022, our margin was 33%. So we've increased the profitability massively. ROI here 50%, and it's more like 95% now. So it just goes to show little tweaks like that can make you a lot more money. but it's something I need to think about. I was looking at white label products to see if I could save time, as the time is my sort of bottleneck, because I do have to make the candles. Whereas if you're just buying arbitrage and selling it, it's a bit more streamlined. But I think it's easier to be profitable with your own sort of business and your own product, whereas arbitrage, you're constantly competing with other sellers. You don't just hold the buy box all the time. So, a lot of things to think about there. Hopefully you found this educational and you've learned a few things. If you have, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.